Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we are diving into an absolutely fascinating archaeological discovery that is challenging everything we thought we knew about Roman coin hoards. Imagine finding not one, not two, but three massive collections of ancient Roman coins buried beneath the floors of ordinary homes. But here is the twist. These were not hidden in panic during raids or invasions. These coins were part of something far more intriguing, a sophisticated financial management system from late antiquity. Let us explore this incredible find from Senon, France, and then we will look at some other amazing coin hoards discovered around the world.
In the northeastern region of France, in a town called Senon in Lorraine, archaeologists from the National Institute for Preventative Archaeological Research, known as INRAP, made a groundbreaking discovery. The excavation covered 1,500 square meters of an ancient Roman residential district. What they found beneath the soil was nothing short of extraordinary. Senon was once an important city of the Mediometrici tribe, a Gallic people documented in Roman sources after the conquest of Gaul in 57 before Christ. This was not just some small outpost, this was a thriving urban center that underwent massive transformation from a Gallic settlement to a fully Romanized city. The excavation revealed that before Roman conquest, the area was densely populated with timber-framed constructions and adobe walls. The density of these remains was extreme. In some sectors, archaeologists found more than one structure per square meter. This proves that Senon was a true agglomeration, a clustered settlement, a real city even before the Romans arrived.
When the Romans took control, everything changed. During the 1st century after the Common Era, the growth of the city combined with Roman building methods created an explosion in stone construction. The wood and earth structures that characterized the Gallic settlement were gradually replaced by stone buildings, and builders turned to local limestone sources to supply the materials. The excavation uncovered no fewer than 10 quarry pits on the site, some reaching depths of nearly 3 meters, that is almost 10 feet deep. These quarries were initially located behind houses in areas corresponding to courtyards or gardens, but as the city expanded, these quarry zones were progressively absorbed by urban development. The excavators found evidence that ancient cavities were reused and remodeled for new purposes as the urbanization process continued. The rebuilt stone houses and roads were laid out in a typical Roman pattern. The survival of so many architectural remains has made it possible for archaeologists to map the buildings, their features, and therefore understand the economic status of their owners. At least 3 buildings had living rooms with concrete floors, hypocaust heating systems, that is, underfloor heating, meticulously designed cellars, ovens, and courtyards in the back. The people who lived in these homes were well off, likely members of the commercial class like merchants or successful artisans. Now here is where things get really interesting. Inside these residential buildings, archaeologists discovered 3 coin hoards that completely defy conventional interpretation. Each hoard was placed inside large amphorae, these big ceramic vessels, buried in pits dug inside the homes. They were in different dwellings, but they all shared remarkably similar characteristics. Each hoard contained several thousands of coins dating from the last quarter of the 3rd century to the first decade of the 4th century after the Common Era. We are talking about the period between approximately 280 and 310 after the Common Era. Now, when most people hear about buried coin hoards, they immediately think of hidden treasures. Someone frantically burying their wealth to protect it from invading armies or raiders. But the archaeological evidence tells a completely different story. First, the vessels containing these coins were carefully placed in well-prepared pits. The amphorae were positioned perfectly vertical thanks to the use of leveling stones. This was not a rushed job. This was methodical, planned, deliberate. Second, in 2 cases, archaeologists found a few coins stuck to the outer face of the vessel. This is crucial evidence because it clearly indicates that these coins were placed there after the vessel had already been buried, before the pit was filled with sediment. In other words, people were making deposits to these hoards over time. Third, the location of the deposits is extremely revealing. The 2 hoards discovered during the excavation were found in apparently ordinary living rooms at an altitude very close to that of the contemporary ground level. The necks of the vases must have been flush with the surface, meaning they remained easily accessible to their owner. Think about what this means. These were not emergency stashes hidden in secret locations. These were part of ongoing financial management. Archaeologists now believe these deposits should be seen as a snapshot of complex monetary management planned over the medium to long term within a household or administration. The owners were capable of making deposits and withdrawals at various intervals. This discovery fundamentally changes how we think about Roman coin hoards. These were not always buried in fear or desperation. Some, like these in Senon, were essentially ancient bank accounts, carefully maintained, regularly accessed, part of the financial infrastructure of daily life in a late Roman household. There may be a connection between these 3 sub-contemporary coin hoards and the known military occupation at Senon. Archaeological evidence shows a fortification dating from the same period located only 150 meters from the excavated area. Perhaps these households were managing funds related to military payroll, supplies, or administration. The exact relationship remains to be fully understood through ongoing post-excavation studies.
Now let us explore other remarkable coin hoards that have been discovered, each telling its own fascinating story about the ancient world.
The Frome Hoard, England. In April 2010, a metal detectorist named Dave Crisp was searching in a field near Frome in Somerset, England, when he discovered what would become one of the largest Roman coin hoards ever found in Britain. The Frome Hoard contains 52,503 Roman coins. The coins were contained in a ceramic pot, 45 centimeters in diameter, dating from 253 to 305 after the Common Era. The hoard is particularly important because it contains the largest group ever found of coins issued during the reign of Carausius, who ruled Britain independently from 286 to 293. He was the first Roman emperor to strike coins in Britain. What makes this hoard especially interesting is that experts believe the pot was so large and fragile that it could not have been easily recovered without breaking it. This has led to the theory that the hoard may represent communal votive offerings to the gods, rather than a personal emergency stash. The Museum of Somerset acquired the hoard in 2011 for £320,250. The coins were removed in 66 labeled bags, weighing approximately 160 kilograms total.
The Tomares hoard, Spain, is one of the most spectacular finds comes from Tomares, near Seville in Spain. In 2016, workers discovered 19 amphorae crammed full of coins. When everything was counted, there were an estimated 53,000 coins. These are tetrarchic numi, issued after Diocletian's financial and monetary reform in 294, but before the reform of 313. All of the emperors of the tetrarchic period are represented: Diocletian, Maximian, Constantius, Galerius, Constantine, Severus, Maximinus, Licinius, and Maxentius. The coins were found at the remains of a 3rd to 4th century brick building with buttressed walls typical of warehouses of rural agricultural estates. The amphorae appear to have been cached under a lime floor which was used to seal them in. Interestingly, researchers found that Diocletian's coins are by far the most common in the hoard. This may be because as later emperors came to power and inflation grew, the weight of the coins and their percentage of silver fell. The owner preferred to hoard Diocletian's money because it contained more silver. Ancient inflation hedging.
The Hoxne Hoard, England. Perhaps the most famous British coin hoard has one of the most charming discovery stories. On November 16, 1992, Eric Laws was helping a local farmer in Hoxne village in Suffolk. The farmer had lost his hammer in a field, and Laws, who had received a metal detector as a retirement gift, was called to help find it. Instead of finding the hammer, Laws discovered the largest hoard of late Roman gold and silver ever found in Britain, indeed anywhere in the former Roman Empire. When archaeologists carefully excavated the site under laboratory conditions, they found nearly 60 pounds of gold and silver objects, including 15,234 Roman coins, dozens of silver spoons, and 200 gold objects. The total hoard consisted of 14,865 coins, plus the additional precious items. The coins date after 407, after the Common Era, which coincides with the end of Britain as a Roman province. The hoard was buried in an oak box or small chest, with items sorted mostly by type, some in smaller wooden boxes and others in bags or wrapped in fabric. One of the most famous objects is the Empress Pepper Pot, a silver pepper pot in the form of a noblewoman with incredible attention to detail. Remember, pepper was first imported into the Roman world from India in the 1st century after the Common Era and was extremely expensive. Some items in the hoard bear personal inscriptions. There is a gold bracelet with the inscription Uter Felix Domina Juliane. Use this happily, Lady Juliane. And another name, Aurelius Ursicinus, appears on several objects. These were likely the couple who owned the treasure. Eric Laws received £1.75 million from the British government for finding the gold and leaving it intact, which he split with the farmer. And yes, he eventually found the hammer too, which is now part of the British Museum's collection.
The Mildenhall treasure, England. Another spectacular British find is the Mildenhall treasure, discovered in January 1942 during World War II. Plowman Gordon Butcher was working in a field at West Row, near Mildenhall in Suffolk, when he unearthed big metal dishes in the middle of a snowstorm. The Mildenhall treasure consists of 34 pieces of exquisitely decorated Roman silver tableware from the 4th century after the Common Era. The most spectacular piece is the Great Dish, measuring 60.5 centimeters, almost 2 feet in diameter, and weighing 8.256 kilograms, over 18 pounds. The Great Dish shows finely executed reliefs with a band of dancing, drunken revelers, including Hercules, Pan, and Bacchus, the god of wine. An inner frieze depicts sea monsters and nymphs, and the face of a sea god stares out from the center. What is fascinating is that the hoard was not reported immediately. Sidney Ford, the boss who helped excavate it, kept it for 4 years, cleaning and restoring it in secret. It was only discovered when Dr. Hugh Fawcett, an antiquities enthusiast, spotted 2 spoons that had been left out during a visit in Easter 1946.
The Staffordshire Hoard, England. Now we move from Roman to Anglo-Saxon times with the Staffordshire Hoard, discovered on July 5, 2009 by metal detectorist Terry Herbert in a field near Hammerchich, Staffordshire. The Staffordshire Hoard is the largest collection of Anglo-Saxon gold and silver ever discovered. Almost 4,600 items and metal fragments, totaling 5.094 kilograms of gold and 1.442 kilograms of silver, with 3,500 cloisonné garnets. What makes this hoard unique is that it is almost entirely martial in character, war gear, especially sword fittings. There are 66 gold sword hilt collars and 86 pommels, the largest ever discovery of pommels in a single context. Many pieces feature elaborate filigree and garnet inlays with zoomorphic designs. Research revealed that up to 1/3 of the fragments come from a very high-status helmet. Anglo-Saxon helmets from this period are incredibly rare. There are only 5 other reasonably complete examples known. The hoard was probably buried between 650 and 675 after the Common Era, during the reign of Penda, the last major pagan Anglo-Saxon king. This was a time of profound political and religious change as Christianity swept across England. Why was it buried? We may never know for certain. Many items were bent or warped, forcibly pulled to strip them away from the objects they were attached to. One theory is that the hoard represents battle trophies, buried for safekeeping or as an offering to pagan gods. The famous Saxon poem, Beowulf, contains lines that may describe similar circumstances. The hoard was purchased jointly by Birmingham Museum and Art Gallery and the Potteries Museum and Art Gallery for £3.285 million.
All of these discoveries remind us that beneath our feet lies an incredible archaeological record waiting to be discovered. The coin hoards of the Roman Empire Project, based at the Ashmolean Museum and Oxford Roman Economy Project, has created a comprehensive online resource documenting over 13,800 hoards from 72 countries containing 5.8 million coins. Each discovery helps us understand not just the wealth of ancient peoples, but their fears, their financial systems, their daily lives, and the turbulent times they lived through.
The discovery at Senon fundamentally changes how we understand Roman coin hoards. Not all buried treasures were hidden in desperation. Some were carefully maintained financial management systems, ancient bank accounts accessed regularly by their owners. These 3 hoards, sitting beneath the floors of ordinary Roman homes, tell us that late antiquity was more complex, more organized, and more sophisticated than we often imagine. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into ancient coin hoards, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more archaeology and history content. What do you think? Would you want to find a hoard like this? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, keep exploring the past.